At time of writing, Bloodstock is right around the corner, and that's fantastic. Can't fucking wait, but I had set myself 3 content-related goals to achieve before heading off to Catton Hall's sacred land. The first of them was to release my review of In a Violent Nature, and your boy ticked that box on the 22nd of July. The second was to complete Horizon Forbidden West's DLC Burning Shores on stream, and despite a soul-destroying technical issue and an ungodly amount of in-game trial and error, achievement unlocked on the 27th of July. The third was to release this video, and if you're savvy with the Metal Festival calendar, you'll know I've accomplished this with days to spare. Good for me. However, in the name of attainment, I'm more than willing to phone it in with this review if necessary, and since I've been spaffing out free material for over 10 years now, that disclaimer is less apologetic than tenaculum forceps. 5 years after meteorologist Kate's failed attempt at taming a tornado which also resulted in a lot of personal loss, she is convinced by her friend / only other surviving group member from that endeavour to join his well-funded and resourced team to travel to Oklahoma during an unprecedented storm season for the sake of gathering enough data on the swirly swirls to help save lives. Unfortunately for Kate et al., EF-scale whirlwinds and rival storm chasers aren't the only thing they'll have to contend with, because this is 2024, so the very nature of this spectacle attracts more wank stains than a teenager's carpet. For those unaware, Twisters is the successor to Twister, which was released back in, hang on one sec, 1996. Fuck. And despite being a standalone sequel, comparisons to the original are inevitable for obvious reasons, one of them being that plenty of nods towards its predecessor are present, but with that said, you don't need to see the original to understand what's going on here. Naturally, those who decide to watch this movie do so with the hope of seeing a bunch of tornadoes do tornado shit, and I'm happy to report that the gusty funnels get a fair amount of screen time, are visually impressive and emit well-engineered audio, but despite being aesthetically superior, they lack the screen presence that accompanied the windy vortexes Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt chased all those years ago. Reason being is that those ones felt more antagonistic through behaving like they were actively seeking to fuck up anyone or anything that flirted with the idea of disrupting their day, whereas on occasion their successors felt like glorified props. The devastation caused by the breezy cones in each feature is undeniable, however the latter's disaster scenes are absent of iconic set pieces. I have no idea when I last saw Twister. If I were to guess, I'd say at least over 10 years ago, but I can vividly recall the parts where the cow was being ping-ponged between tornadoes and the bit where the fucked house tumbles onto the road, leaving Paxton and Hunt's characters no choice but to drive through it. Those types of awesome cinematic moments stand the test of time because of how quirky and original they are. I saw the sequel twice within 7 days, and the only thing I can hark back to regarding the aforementioned disaster scenes is nothing outside of missed opportunity to pay homage to cowpong and random bits of debris that sometimes were ablaze being yeeted across every pixel, the memory of which contains less longevity than Haley Welch's fame. Spinny wind shit aside, the movie is mundane. The plot, as well as the characters, only one of which escapes singular dimension, are practically cloned from the 1996 classic and given a contemporary adjustment. Naturally, this makes the bloated 122-minute experience somewhat predictable, a dogfight that's not made easier by a generic soundtrack and predominantly average acting tainted with shoddiness. Also, where the fuck was Helen Hunt? Yes, I'm aware that the same production company that helmed this project rejected her pitch for a follow-up to Twister, but that doesn't mean a middle ground couldn't be found for the sake of fan service as well as squeezing in a tasteful tribute to Bill Paxton. It would have been easy as fuck for the writers to weave her into the narrative too, as Daisy Edgar-Jones's Kate spends a ton of time with her mother for a dash of uninspiring character development. The woman who crotch goblined our protagonist is played by Maura Tierney, who looks nothing like our leading actor whatsoever, whereas Hunt and Edgar-Jones could easily find work in an industry where mother-stepdaughter material thrives, if you catch my drift. Essentially, Twisters is what you'd get if you took the blueprint belonging to its forebear, glazed it with a near $200 million budget, seasoned it with modern-day culture, then repeatedly twatted it with a tenderizer made of inadequacy, and there's not really much more to it than that. Anyway, I'm done with this review. At time of talking, Blighty is going through a heatwave, and if I stay in this room for much longer, I'll start sweating more than a otolaryngologist during a Donald Trump rally.